we left over here in the he was explaining that when you daven, say the Shema, he's making a distinction between up to the Amida and from the Amida and on. Up to the Amida, it's the davening is with a loud voice, it's with excitement, and that's corresponds to the tefillin shel yad, which is miyushav, which is sitting down. You don't have to stand. It's not the Amida. The Amida is really by Shimon Esrei. That is called a level of, by the signet, we call it a protruding. It's like a mountain, which basically means you are an entity. You're still, it's the level of a yesh versus the level of bittul, an entity or something which is subjugated, someone who's subjugated. The avoida up to Amida, you're still saying it loud, and you're sitting down, and that's the level of a har, that you are an entity and you love Hashem. And what do you bring down as a result? You bring down, he calls on the mountain a hoir hahor, a corresponding to that level of your love to Hashem, which brings down the Oir Sof into the vessels. That's the level of the of the Kriya Shema and the before the davening and the on the level of the Tefillin Shel Yad. And he says, V'zehu inyan hamshochas ubinyan ramach evorim de malko. And this is the idea of drawing down and building the 248 limbs of the king. The 248 limbs of the king, as we say, the ramach mitzvahs asay are the ramach evorim de malko. That is zo the Atzilus. That is considered ampin of Atzilus. The level of midas of Atzilus get built through the avoida, through the har, through the protruding, up till Shivana Esrei. That builds the level of Zeir ampin of the zo of Atzilus, which is the 248 limbs of the king. And that is built al yidei ramach tevin shabikriya shema, by the 248 words in the Shema. We know that the Shema has 240. We actually, it's missing. We add, that's why we say Hashem Elokeichem Emes to get the full 248. The extra 3 words, but in the Shema, we consider is 248 words. Those 248 words correspond to the 248 limbs of the king, which is the 248 limbs of the king are in Zoh, are in the Midas of Atzilus. They are in the Zeir Ampin, in the Zoh of Atzilus. And Sheyesh Gamkein Tisha Beroish, there is also 9 of the limbs are in the head, as the Mishnah mentions in Seif Perikama the Olis. Over there, in that Mishnah, in the end of the first chapter of Aholos, the Mishnah enumerates the 248 limbs. Where are they in the body? So over there, he says that 8 of these 248 find themselves in the head, which means that also the head has some of those limbs. So v'hainu, and that means kol bechina ze'er. Ze'er anpin, all of the level of ze'er anpin, which includes also the 9 of the head, are nimshach through the level of the har, the protruding love, the expressive ahava from the yesh, to create that har, to bring down into zod de atzilus. V'ayin mashekosuf me'inyan zeh, and look what it says about this idea that the Ramach Tevin Shabikriyas Shema Hem Binyan V'Amshochas Ramach Evorim de Malko, that by these 248 words are building and bringing down the 248 live the king in the Mamer v'Divra Maskul Tzedren. V'lo chein nikro hamshocha hanal, and that's why this hamshocha is called the Tefillah Shel Yad. Basically, just like we have Tefillin Shel Yad and Tefillin Shel Rosh, and we're saying to Hashem, the pasuk that we're explaining, Simani kachosem al zroyecha ve'al libecha, put me like a seal. And we quoted before from the Medrash that seal as the tefillin of Shel Yad zroyecha and al libecha the tefillin Shel Rosh. So basically means that we're mamshich the level of tefillah Shel Yad through the avoda up to Kriya Shema, which is the Kriya Shema, up to the Amida, which is basically the avoda of Tefillin Shel Yad. So he says because Shekosuv Bo over there in the Tefillah Shel Yad, it's written V'hoyo l'chol le'ois, that it should be to you for a sign, but it's only to you and not to others. That means that it's not that it's hidden within. It's a shekeya. It's something which is inside. It's sunk in, but only for you, not to the others. Mipnei sha'oires mechusim u'melubashim b'toich hakelim b'v'chinas shkia, because the lights are covered and dressed up within the kelim in a way that they're sunk in. I don't understand, but the chayra, the same parsha is written also in the Tefillin Shel Rosh, the V'hoyu l'chol ha'ois. It's not the Tefillin Shel Yad and the Tefillin Shel Rosh have exactly the same parsha. So, but I guess this part of the parsha is specifically V'hoyu l'chol ha'ois, but he's trying to single out the Tefillin Shel Yad over here. But anyways, I'm just pointing that out. As opposed to when we come to the Amida, we come to the 18 brachas. That's not a level of yesh. That's bechinas bitl hayesh. That's the level of the negation, the subjugation of the yesh. Shahu inyan kriyos v'ishtachavois. That's why in the Amida we kneel and we prostrate ourselves and we bow. That's why we do also the Amida silently. Because through the level that he practices when it comes to Shemoneh Esrei, which is the level of bittul, self-negation, Niskarev chulu, that brings you close to Hashem through your subjugation. Then that becomes like example, Hamadaber im hakorev elov. If you speak to somebody who is close to you, is belachash. You speak silently. You speak in an undertone. You don't have to talk loud. You whisper to somebody who is next to you. You whisper. Basically, through the level of bittul, you became close to Hashem And you can whisper to Hashem. You no longer have to say it out loud because now your bittul impacted you that you became close to Hashem. So through the level of bittul, level of Shemona Esrei, v'nimshech mizeh b'chinas blita, so you get the opposite, like from this signet. When you have a sunk letters inside of the signet, you get, and you b'chinas blita, you get the level of protrusion that you get gilui oir ein sof shalamaylam yutzir, is that silu, a revelation of the ein sof light, which is higher than tefillin. V'hu tefillin shel berosh, that's going to be the tefillin that's on the head. B'chinas gilui, that you get the tefillin of the head to come down in a revealed way. That's the simani kachosem al libecha v'zehu. And this is expressed in the pasuk. It says, "Smoiloi tachas leroishi." His left hand is underneath my head. That is the level of bechinas kriya shema utfilin shel yad. That is the level of shema and the tefillin shel yad, which is the Hashem's sort of left hand under our head to lift us up. And then his right hand hugs us, which is the tefillin shel rosh, which is the Ein Sof canal, as mentioned earlier. So the Rebbe says now, V'hine b'kol zeh meturatz, with all this is answered ma shehiksha haramaz, say Parshas Bamidbar v'zel l'shoyne. The question that the Ramaz asks in the end of the portion of Bamidbar, and this is quoting him, Zel l'shoyne. So he says there is a contradiction where tefillin shel yad and tefillin shel rosh, where they come from. That in one place it's written they're all in Atzilus, that the shel yad and the shel rosh are sourced in the Atzilus. In another place it says that the shel rosh is in Atzilus and the shel yad is in Bria. That's asked by the Ramaz. So this is what it says. Shalefi hanizkar, according to what we just mentioned, he says, Tfilin elu hakoil hu ba'atzilus. All of these tefillin are all in Atzilus. But v'hine harav zal mosar lonu beferish. But the rabbi of blessed memory told us very clearly shatfila shel yad hu bebriya, that the tefillin of the hand is in Bria, und tefillin shel rosh hu ba'atzilus. And that's not Atzilus. V'chein muchar mekarchol. Ad kan l'shoyne. So how do we reconcile? That's what the Ramaz asks. And the Rebbe says, over there, it says, the tefillin shel yad b'priya. What does it mean that the tefillin shel yad is in Bria? That the correction that takes place through the tefillin shel yad, what does it mean in Bria? That it pushes away the chitzonim from the gimel tachtoines de Bria, of the three lower levels, netzach hoyt yisoid of Bria, al yidei hamshochas ha'ir matzilus chulu, by bringing down the ha'ir matzilus ein shom. So he just quotes from that Mamer as well. So the Rebbe is going to answer now. How do we answer the conflict where the tefillin shel yad is? Is it in Atzilus or is it in Bria? So the Rebbe says that really it's not really difficult at all. According to what I written, this is not difficult at all. So he says like this: the Masha Kosov, the Tefillin Shel Yad Hu Bebriya, this that he writes, that Tefillin Shel Yad is Bebriya, Hainu Mamish Masha Kosov Bezoyar Shom. This is exactly what the Zoyar says there, that Sloiso de Meyushav, the prayer of Meyushav, which means all of the prayer that comes up to Shemone Esrei, that prayer is considered in the level of Bria. The davening is considered to be a ladder, Sulam Mutzav Arz, that reaches to Shemaima, till Atzilus. So that part of davening is the level of Bria when the person reaches the level of Bria. When it says this, like it says in the Zoyar, that Sloisa de Meyushav is Lekovel Tefillah Shel Yad. This corresponds to the Tefillin Shel Yad. And we know it's Loisa de Meyushav Hu Bebria. And we know that it's a Bria. However, he says, Vare Le'omar Rakdu Lekovel Tefillah Shel Yad. He only says that the davening of Meyushav corresponds to the Tefillin Shel Yad. What does it mean by saying Lekovel Tefillin Shel Yad? That it responds. What he means to say that Shloisa de Meyushav, that this davening that you do while sitting down, the Krishma and the Brachas, up till the Amida, who halo asman ha me'oireru mamshich hamshocha de Tefillin Shel Yad u'kenal. That is elevating the mayim nukvim, the feminine water, the meserusa dilatata, to bring down the level of Tefillin Shel Yad Kanal, which means your avoida is in the level of Beria, which corresponds to the level of the davening, the Miyushav. You start, that is the level of Bria, but that corresponds to the Tefillin Shel Yad of Atzilus, was the canal. As we said before, the Tzloiso de Meyushav, like we said before, that the davening that you do while sitting down, which is Kriya Shema and all the brachas, the Tzloiso de Meyushav bechinas Rotzoi. That's in a way of running. Rotzoi v'shuv, meaning that's a great level of Ava, being an entity rushing towards Hashem. Shehu choisem boilet shemilmato. That's a protruding signet of below, because there is an entity. That for sure has to be in the level of Bria. Sheshom shayich chinas harotzui v'atshuka l'kol v'atzilus. Because over there it applies to have that level of rotzui and the level of yearning to be included in Atzilus. But what you bring down through you running to the running, what you get, the response, that's already a sunken shekeya, because the protruding brings about a choisem shekeya, a sunk choisem from above. Shemil Milo, Shako Shemil Milo. Dahainu Tefillin Shel Yad, which is Tefillin Shel Yad. Uvadai ba'atzilus. That's for sure in Atzilus, which is Hamshochas Eidin Sof Bekelim Da'atzilus Chulu Canal. That is bringing down the Eidin Sof in the vessel of Atzilus like before. So that's why it's not a contradiction. The avoida of the Yid is in Bria, the Hamshocha, and that's L'Kovel Tefillah Shel Yad. That's corresponds, but the Hamshocha itself comes from Atzilus. That's the Choisem Shekeya, the sunk that comes Oiris B'Kelim into the essence spheres, into the spheres of Atzilus. Uma Shekosu the Tefillin Shoroshu B'Atzilus. And this that he writes, that the Tefillin Shorosh is in Atzilus. Hainu Mashakosu Bezoyar Shom. That is what he writes in the Zoyar over there that we quoted before. Lebosor. After you're done with Kriya Shema, is Sloiso de Muhammad. Then you have this davening that you do while standing. The Hi Lekobel Tefillah Dereisha. That corresponds to the Tefillin Shel Rosh. But it's Shaloimar, and what he means to say, Shagam Mashu B'chinas Lekobel Tefillah Dereisha, that also that which corresponds to the Tefillin Shel Rosh, Hainu Halos Man Hagoyrem Hamshochas Chaylusam Boilet the Tefillin Shel Rosh, that is the elevation of the Mayim Nukvim, the Sarusta, the Latata, the feminine water, which caused to bring down that protruding signet of the Tefillin Shel Rosh, which means, that's what it means, the Kobel Tefillah Shel Rosh, that it corresponds to the Tefillah Shel Rosh, that what brings down the higher level. In a Bechina Zu Hu Ba'atzilus. So that level of the person, the bittul of the person, is also in Atzilus. Bezeu inyan Shmoyne Esrei, and this is the idea of Shmoyne Esrei, the Amida, the Eitim Brach Shu B'chinas Atzilus, which is the level of Atzilus, Shu B'chinas Bittul, which is the level of subjugation. And the reason is Ki Atzilus Hu Chochma B'chlal. Generally, Chochma is in Atzilus. Shehi B'chinas Bittul. That is the level of subjugation, which is Yirei Boishes. It is a awe of shame not to be, because he's connected. It's a Choisem Shekeya Shemilmato B'chinas Shuv. That is the sunk-in signet that from below, which is the level of Shuv, not the level of Rotzu, the level of Shuv, the level of Bittul, the level of sunk in. But Ulam Hamshocha Shal Yidei Zeh. But what kind of Hamshocha you get? Tefillin Sharosh de Mora Alma. We get the Tefillin Sharosh of the master of the world, which is Choisem Boilet. That's a protruding signet Shamil Milo. From above, you get that Choisem Boilet. Gilui Oirin Sobaruchu Shalamaylo Me'eser Shiras Da'atzilus. That is the revelation of the Oirin Sof, which is higher than the 10 spheres of Atzilus. Kiniska Leila said earlier. Ba'ayin Mashakosu beParshas Vayechi b'Dibur Hamaski Yehuda Ato Yeducho. But there it says the Kriya Shema ve'emes v'yatziv hen b'chinas hamshoches ma'edin sov baruch hu leb'chinas v'malakul almin. Over there it says that Kriya Shema are hamshoches ma'edin sov baruch hu, from the infinite light of the blessed Ein Sof to the level of Malakul Almin. Avol b'chinas Shemona Esrei shu b'chinas Yehuda, but the level of Shemona Esrei, which is the level of Yehuda, Hoida u'Bitl, which is acknowledgement, subjugation, v'iskalus b'Eidin Sof baruch ha'asrei v'kol almin, and that's inclusion in the Eidin Sof. So Rishma Emes v'Yatzi bring down, this includes Sof. V'ayim ha'shikosu b'tir ha'maschal shemayim kisi, that ach eze b'ayis chulu, that while Shemayim Kisi Hamshochas Makifim B'Bechinas Seivim Kol Almim Hanimshach Al Yidei Tfilas Shmoyne Esrei, that is bringing down the Makifim, some Seivim that come through the Amida. Umemashe Kosu Shom Yuvon Gamkein, from what's written there, you understand Inyan Choisem Shekeya Niskar Khan, the idea of this sunk-in signet that is mentioned here, Shal Derech B'chinas Hashemayim Kisi. So when we say that the heaven is my throne, that is similar, that the Derech Hashemayim Kisi, that is the level of Shemayim Kisi. That is the Choisem, That's the chosem shekeya, the level of bittul. The level of bittul, the level of shemana esrei, the level of subjugation, the chosem boilet, and the protruding who bechinas amshochas makifim bechinas shevu klam chulum. So we are in the level of Hashemayim Kisi, the level of bittul. Then you bring down Eiza Bayish Tiklun Li, Shezeu Inyan Eiza Bayis, which is a hell. What kind of a home? That's not a bayis, which is Oiris Bekalim, but from the level of Soivet. Belze Abid Chulum. Hashem says, I go down Dafke to the lower level, is the Hamshocha. Through the level of Hashemayim Kisi, the level of bittul, level of Shemina Esrei, you bring down Eiza Bayis. No, not the level of home, not the level of Memaluk Lamed. And that is all related to this pasuk of the signet that we say, Simani Alibecho. And we have both. We have the level of Tefillin Shel Yad and the Tefillin Shel Rosh. And each one, the Shel Yad, brings down, that is considered the protruding, brings down the level of Shekeya signet. And the Amida, which is the sunk signet, brings down the protruding signet, as explained at length over here in this Mamer.